Well, first of all, I want to thank everybody for attending this webinar. We've had some very, very good feedback on it in the past. What I can say is that you have successfully, I hope, gotten through the revision that we have done that has been long overdue. So this is the revision to a video that we've had, or a webinar we've had going since 2008. First thing I'll say is, if for some reason any of you did have any issues with anything on this webinar, as far as audio, video, anything along those lines, please do reach out to us and let us know, because obviously we're striving to have the best presentation we can have with the best information we can have for all of you, and getting your feedback is critical if there is some issue out there that we're not seeing on our end. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Jason Spangler. I am the division manager for flooring. That is not only the Rapid RH for concrete moisture, but it's also the handheld meters for testing wood flooring, wood subflooring, things of that nature. If for some reason, as we go through this Q&A session that we're going to do, you forget about a question or you want to talk to me directly, please don't hesitate to call me. That's what I'm here for. My phone number is 800-634-9961, and my direct extension is 235. Also, I like to remind people as we're going through, definitely send emails if you have questions. But again, if you do forget, just reach out to me directly, and I'll be more than happy to help you any way I can. So with that being said, we'll get into the questions. First question I have is from Greg. And he says, why 3 tests for the first 1,000 square feet? So we'll kind of back that up a little bit, Greg. Part of the thing as far as 1,000 square foot is that a 4 to 6 inch slab is going to be about a truckload of concrete. So they want to make sure that there aren't any variations from, theoretically, variations from truckload to truckload of concrete. That being said, the 3 for the first 1,000 is to get a good standardized testing of that, a good baseline, if you will, to go off of, to start with. So if you look at those 3 in the first 1,000, it kind of gives you an idea of the consistency that you have sitting in that 1,000 square feet, to be able to baseline that against some of the other ones that you have out there, to make sure that you don't have any drastic differences from truckload to truckload. Next one from Michael. Is there software available to print out test results for professional looking documentation for our clients? That's a great question, Michael. What we have is, we have a device called the Data Master. And the Data Master is a handheld device and a Bluetooth reader. And you would still do, as you saw in the installation video, you would still install the sensors in the concrete normally. But when you come back to read them, you can take the Bluetooth reader, insert it into the sensor, and instead of having a display come up like was showed on the installation video, it actually transmits the information to the handheld device. The handheld device can then, it goes through and it documents the serial number, it documents the ambient air conditions, temperature and relative humidity, documents the temperature and the relative humidity in the concrete, but it also allows you to put a specific location like second floor, room 205, things along those lines, plus the thickness of the concrete, and things of that nature. Now, the whole point of that is that all of the information that the sensor reads is then locked. So it takes the debate of any kind of data integrity out of the question. What you can do at that point is upload that information to a website that we have, which is f2170reports.com. And you take that information, you have an account that you make that's your own, it's free. You upload the information, and you can actually upload a logo, your own logo in there. It's a basic type of reporting structure, but yes, it is definitely a very professional format. So that's what we have from that standpoint. The other side of it is, every time you buy the sensor packs, you'll see, as you saw in the video, the hand recording sheet. That is also available online that you can find, so that you can actually sit there and fill it in online, so it's done via the computer. Obviously, it's not automatically generated or as easily formattable as the DataMaster software would be, but it definitely is something where you can do it, and it makes it a little bit cleaner that way also. A couple of the other questions that I get a lot. One is, how do I determine, especially when you're talking a slab on grade, how do I determine the thickness of that slab so I can actually get to an appropriate 40% depth in that slab, or calculate the 40% depth? When you're talking about new construction, obviously you look at it and you look at a situation where you have construction documents. Obviously, that's not every time they pour the concrete is going to be perfect thickness, but the construction documents give you the ability to look at them and have something to go off of, so that you've actually done your due diligence. What I always tell people, though, is that if you're not used to trying to find out the thickness of a slab on grade, you're going to be surprised once you get your brain wired to the fact of that you need that information, how many different things when you walk on the job site that you'll see that will allow you to determine that. Worst case scenario, I have people that will take a smaller diameter drill bit. They'll pick a couple of spots on the floor. They'll drill all the way through it. They'll take a pliable piece of wire, make a J-hook out of it, just a little bit bigger diameter, so that when they push it down through the hole, it compresses. As they go down to the bottom and they reach the bottom of the slab, that compressed J-hook pops out, so when you pull it up, you can feel the tension on it. Pull it up until you have tension on the top of the concrete, mark across the wire, and then when you pull it all the way out, you have a very good idea. The two spots you would do just give you kind of a comparison. Nobody's going out there making the slabs in Swiss cheese, but at least it gives you the ability to have some comparative information to look at. Another one that I have a lot is pan decking. People want to have a discussion about, do I measure 40% of the shallow part or 40% of the deep part? At this point, unfortunately, the ASTM committee is silent on this as far as giving you absolute direction. There are a lot of people out there that think that you can come up with an effective thickness. So you can have a certain percentage of the thin, certain percentage of the thick, and come up with an effective thickness calculation on that. There are a lot of people out there that are using that method. I can tell you that the ASTM committee is going to start looking at that even more, so that they can give an absolute to make sure that it's something that is, a viable option. What we say at this point is, we say that we would like you to identify the thickest portion. And the easiest way to do that is with a very inexpensive metal detector that functions much like a stud finder on a wall. They're usually $60 to $80, and they look, again, much like a stud finder. But you put them on the floor, and what they'll do is the scanning depth on them is usually good enough to pick up the high part of the metal pan decking, but it's not so strong that it'll pick up the low spot. So as you're scanning across the surface to the floor, it'll pick up one high spot. You move over 6 inches or 8 inches, it picks up the second high spot, and then you drill 40% right in the middle of that. That's typically what we look at. John, I've been using a GE Protometer MMS with their humidity sleeves, which under the right conditions can show a cross-sectional profile of the slab moisture. I get relative moisture readings and convert them to a moisture percentage. Does the RapidRH provide a similar metric? Well, for one, I have to say, John, I'm a little bit lost on the question exactly what it is that you're looking for as far as an answer. But what I will tell you is that if you are using a GE Protometer that allows you to get a cross-section or variable depth readings of the slab, so you can either knock out a percentage and it'll give you 20% of the thickness of that hole, or 30% or 40%, that's probably not meeting the current ASTM standard that was changed back in 2011. GE actually, and it's not GE anymore, but the Protometer actually just came out with a newer device that finally meets that standard. But up until probably 6 or 8 months ago, they didn't have anything out there. So that might be something for you to look at. As far as does the Rapid RH have a similar metric based on the information you're giving me? If you want to give me a call, again, 800-634-9961, extension 235. I can dig into that a little bit more to find out exactly what it is that you're looking for. Michael, are there any classes that you offer for certification for the use of your products? Absolutely, Michael. We have certification process online. What it entails is you purchase the certification process, which is once you purchase it for $75, we send you a list of videos for you to watch. As you go through those videos, at the end of it, there's a test that we send you. As long as you score 80% or greater, then we send you an actual certification on it. What I will say is if you're really interested in that kind of stuff, as far as having certifications for moisture testing in general, one of the only nationally recognized bodies that's out there that's really doing an in-depth certification class on moisture testing across all types of methods is the International Concrete Repair Institute. So if you go to icri.org and look over on the left-hand side, they'll have a button or a link in there that gives you an idea of when they offer these classes, what the classes are, things along those lines. But what it entails is a full day of classroom where they go through all the methodology, the conceptual ideas of the different types of moisture testing, and then there's a half a day of actual hands-on where you're doing all the different types of moisture testing, and you're being graded on that to make sure that you're doing it appropriately, so that when people see that you're ICRI certified, in theory, they know that you've gone through this fairly rigorous process and that you know what you're doing from a moisture testing standpoint. Okay, well, it looks like that I don't have any other questions. Again, my name is Jason Spangler. My direct contact information is a phone number 800-634-9961, extension 235. If you have any questions, either now or in the future, don't hesitate to give us a call. And again, I want to thank you very much for participating in this, and have a great day.